I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a product called n8n. I'm not selling it. It's available. I have a $20 a month license with it. Um, in my world today, I've got about 10 key prompts that I use. I store them in Google Docs and then I pull them out when I want to. And then, I kind of build on it. I've got one meta prompt which I've built over the last 6 months, which has that I use for authoring, which it subtracts out all the common phrases and rhetorical elements that AI tends to use in writing content. So I can usually, if we create a blog post, have the AI write the outline. We can also then create a first draft of a blog that's between 30 and 50% AI, get a human to review the content, and then do one more pass for keyword optimization. We can usually get the blog posts to come back on GPT-0 as under 10% AI written. So, again, thoughtfully, it's man in the middle, right? It's not fully agent, it's not fully automated, but at least it's, this is kind of the state of the day today. Again, tools that are in my toolbox, I have a paid Claude license. One of my clients provides me with a ChatGPT license they prefer to use. I like n8n. It's a little bit complicated to use, but if you're in the vibe coding mode, it's got some pretty cool functionality. Clay for getting data. This Tavily, which I'm going to show you this in a minute, I use to source articles and news articles and a search case study I'm going to show you. HeyReach is a tool that will send LinkedIn direct messages and send invites, LinkedIn automation tool, because LinkedIn will not give you AI access. Sorry, will not give you API access to do the kind of things that probably you and I all want to do. Um, HubSpot, one of my clients has, and then MailChimp, another client has. So these are the tools that I use today. Um, my vision right now is the thing that I'm trying to work towards. And my feeling is, and I've been talking with another friend about this, is really to try and go out and build. And this is I was calling it bot army, but this is going to be my group of digital twins that I'm trying to build myself. I built a few of these. The one that I'm going to show you today is this news scraper application. I've also got a LinkedIn automation app that I'm building, but a number of these things like the blog post optimizer, I have all the prompts. I just need to connect them all together and write it. So the point is that I'm trying to build, whether I'm working as a fractional CMO or whether I'm working as a full-time person, which I am pursuing full-time opportunities at the same time as well. But whether I'm doing one or the other, I'm going to need all of these. And then, I'm trying to use this as a secret sauce in terms of being able to talk to people and being able to share this with individuals. Um, so again, I'm going to show you one of them. So this is the case study that I wanted to show you today, which is what I'm calling the news scraper, which is basically put in, searches the web on articles from the last 7 days on certain keywords or competitors, um, assess or sort the articles by their authority, give it some kind of authority ranking, create an executive summary of all the news from the week, and then also create a brief abstract summarizing the article and create a pretty report, and then send it to my inbox on Monday morning at 7 o'clock. So again, I talked about the tech stack. I use Tavily for the news. I tried Google News. They're clearly trying to prevent people from doing that because it kept breaking every time I would get the articles, and Claude kept making stuff up. Like Claude kept bringing back articles that I couldn't find in the wild. So this Tavily product, I think, is like $20 a month. Again, another cheap product, relatively cheap product that works. Or actually, I take it back. I think I bought it I bought credits and it was cheap. I think it's costs like pennies per report. So I'm going to show you n8n a second ago. I tried Zapier. I couldn't get it to work. It didn't. They have a lot of agent functionality and a lot of AI connectivity, but it just was really barking at me about a lot of things. Claude does all the summarizing. Well, Anthropic, Sonnet. I think I'm using 3.5 or 4. And then again, n8n can connect to Gmail and Google Sheets, so it can sends the article through my personal Gmail account. All right, so here's the big grand reveal, right? This is the workflow. It's as simple. I know this is the part of I think I watched a bunch of videos on YouTube about how people do this, and they always do the grand reveal and they say, "Look how simple this is, right? This is not that hard." It looks really easy because you have to break it down. I did this in a kind of quote unquote vibe coding kind of way, right? I went to Claude and I said, "Hey Claude, I want to," and I gave it a prompt that looked very much like this, right? And it came back with, and I said, "Tell me, I know nothing about coding. I'm a marketing guy, and give me a simple step-by-step instructions." And it did. And then I went through and I worked my way with N8n and followed their step-by-step instructions. Here's the giant caveat to it all, right? Is that you guys have probably all worked with AI. It speaks very confidently, right? It's very much like, oh, just do this, and you go to the screen and you go, hey, wait a second, that screen doesn't exist, and then you say, hey, that screen doesn't exist, and then they go, oh yeah, you're right. So Claude probably, I think I have the cheap Claude account, right? The cheapest personal account. So they probably are running me on model Sonnet 3 or 3.5 rather than model 4. So when you complain something's not right, it goes and says, "Oh yeah, you're right." They change their interface and they go to the latest model and latest data. So
Yeah. Hey,
anyway,
Frank, are you using paid version of n8n or are you using the open source one?
I'm using the paid version because the open
Okay.
source is something I would need to go get a cloud instance or run it on my. You could run the open source if you wanted to, but a lot of people do. That's one of the big selling. That's one of the big selling points for N8N, right? Is that they're really popular in the DevSecOps and all the security places. Anyone who's not gonna, security guys are never gonna run their stuff in Amazon. They're gonna run it either in a local private cloud or local local instance. So
Yeah, I think any marketer, I think all of us have, if we built customized stacks, we've had the team Zapier tended to be, it starts getting expensive and kludgy and all the stuff that we want to automate. I love the fact that you're using some open source glue here.
yeah, but it's not, I mean, it's open source in the sense that the technology is open source, but I pay $20 a month for
Yeah.
the license for it. So it's not perfect, but it definitely works. And it's it's one of those things where it took me a little bit of time to get used to it, but now that I'm used to it, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the challenges. But the basic idea is, look, here's the trigger, runs automatically. It starts at 7 a.m. You can do it daily, hourly. You get full settings, right? Then it goes and it does an API call to this service and sends a prompt to that to go get what it wants. Then it sends back the articles and we get the articles. We ask it to format the articles in a way that we can send them to Claude. Then Claude goes through and uh, connects and creates the summaries of it. And then this Gmail node will then create an API, sorry, an HTML report, formatted HTML report for people to look at. That looks really pretty. So here's what it looks like. Right, this is what it ultimately looks like, and I think I could make it look much better. I mean, I say first, my clients, the two clients that I'm using it for, they really love it. They think it's really great because it does a pretty good job. It'll go scrape the world, so you can get as many or as few articles as you want. If I say send me the low authority, I might get 30 articles. In one given week. If I say just send me high and medium, it'll give me a lower ones. But then I said sort it by, create a pretty looking report with an executive summary. The next, yeah, the summaries do make sense. I think it could use a little bit of formatting. I'm not great at HTML, but I haven't messed around with it. I just wanted to really make it work. I also wanted to be able to demonstrate it. So it works pretty great. I've run it. I've been running it for a couple of weeks now, and it looks really good, and people are liking it, and it provides some fodder. The next innovations that I'm looking to add to it, or I may use it to then say, okay, what are some opportunities? What does help me brainstorm some ideas for some blog posts that we could write to respond to some of the things, and then say, okay, draft me some outlines of some of these blog posts. Start to think about ways to either take this and connect it up with some of the content generation or the social media posts, or create social media posts that repost some of these articles. So um, it's also just significantly less than a news service. Yeah, and to me, this was a really logical one to try. It's not particularly complicated. I'm going to upload, uh, n8n has a online community as well where you can, these templates you can upload. So I'm going to upload this to n8n as well. So if people want to then go grab it and use it, feel free. You'll still, even if you have my template, you still have to mess around with it to get it to work. So, because it's not like all the AI stuff, in theory, it seems really great, but in practice, it takes a little bit of time because I don't know that any of us are JavaScript or JSON programmers or, Python programmers.